Welcome students to our Quadratics unit. Today we're going to be graphing, so make sure that you have your notebook out, your pencil ready, and then we can begin. So we're starting our Quadratics unit. By the end we'll be able to factor, graph, and solve different types of quadratics. We're going to be using the flipped classroom model for some, which means you'll be watching videos like this at home, and you'll come in, then you'll actually do an activity that deals with a lesson. Please make sure you take really good notes. If you need to, stop the video, pause it, rewind it, watch it again, watch it a couple times. It's going to stay online. Make sure you use it. Okay, so let's look at a little icebreaker activity real quick. It's always nice to know when you're going to see this. I know a lot of you are big sports fans. So let's take a look at this and then we'll talk about it a little bit. I want you to take a minute, pause the video, go post in the comments below. Do you think he made that shot? It's full court shot, end of time. Did he make it? Why do you think that? Okay, we'll come back to that later. So today our standard Common Core is EDT598, graphing linear quadratic functions. We're going to be dealing with the quadratic. By the end of today's lesson, you should be able to graph quadratic functions, determine intercepts, and tell me if the graph has a minimum or a maximum. This is also what we're going to be dealing with tomorrow in class. Formulas you need to know. These you're going to need to know throughout the entire thing, so make sure that you write these down. These are always very important for graphing, factoring, anything that we do with quadratics. You're going to want to know this. Okay. Standard form of quadratics, y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. X squared and x are always going to be the same. A, B, C are going to be some type of integer. Recall from our previous units, an integer is any positive or negative number, cannot be fractions or decimals. Sometimes you'll get fractions or decimals with these, but for a while we're going to focus with just the integers till you get more comfortable with it. We also have what's called the vertex, which is the highest or lowest point of a quadratic, and we can find that by x equals the opposite of b over 2a. This is also something known as the axis of symmetry, which is a vertical line that when you graph it, cuts our parabola right in half. And we'll look at that a little bit in our example. Big things to remember, vertex is either the highest or lowest point. That's going to tell you if it's a maximum or a minimum. If our a value is positive, our graph is going to open up and our vertex is going to be the minimum. It's going to be the lowest point. If a is a negative number, our graph is going to open down. That's going to be a maximum. Okay. Keep that in mind. That's called the vertex. Circle that, star it, underline it. That's an important word. We're going to use it a lot. So the general method of graphing is we're going to find that x value of the vertex by the opposite of b over 2a. That's going to be our central point. You plug that into the equation, whatever it happens to be, and you get the y value. So that gives you your first full point. Okay, our equation only gives us the x value. We are going to focus on a table of values, so we're going to pick some points above and below that point. Why we do that is because the left and the right side of a quadratic, also known as a parabola, they mirror each other. So it's a good idea to just get into this habit, look at some points on both sides, look at the shape, get used to it. And then just like we did with linear equations, we're just going to graph from the table. We want typically 3 points below, 3 points above. So we're going to have a total of 7 points in the end. Let's go through an example. Okay, so these examples for the most part are going to look like this. Y equals, and this time it's x squared plus 6x plus 1. Okay, we want to graph this. First thing we always do is label your values. And what I mean by that is those a, b, and c values from the standard form of a quadratic. A is in front of the x squared term. In this case we don't see it, but there's an invisible number there that you all should remember. It's a 1. Our b value is in front of the x, that's positive 6. And our c value is our constant. Remember that, c constant, constant c. That's negative 1. Okay, so we're going to label those because we use those a lot. Get into this habit as well because we use it with factoring, solving, completing the square. We use it with a whole bunch of different things. After we have our values, we want to find the axis of symmetry. Okay. Remember, that's our x equals opposite of b over 2a. We say opposite of b and not negative b because it's always the opposite of what it is. If b is positive, it turns negative. If b was negative, it would be positive. Okay. That is probably the number one mistake, is not using the opposite of b. With our example, since our b is positive, we turn it negative. So we have negative 6 over 2 times 1, which is negative 6 divided by 2, which is negative 3. So that's the x value of our vertex. We don't know the y value quite yet. So what we want to do is we want to set up a table around x equals negative 3. That's the x value of the vertex. It's also the axis of symmetry, so that's what we want to work around. So we pick 3 points above, 3 points below, so we have from negative 6 to 0. We try and get these evenly spaced apart as best we can. Sometimes it doesn't work out the best, but this time it works out really well. So we evaluate each x value by plugging it into the equation. We did this a lot with linear. Process is exactly the same when it comes to quadratics. We take that x value, we plug it in, we solve. Go ahead, take a minute, pause the video, try that out on yourself before you continue. Hopefully by now you tried all these out on yourself. These are the values you should get. Notice how negative 4 and negative 2 for the x, they have the same y value. Negative 5, negative 1, same y value. Negative 6, 0, same y value. If 2 points are evenly spaced around that vertex, the y values should be the same. If not, double check what you did. Keep in mind that when we square a negative number, it turns positive. Negative 3 squared is negative 3 times negative 3, so it's positive 9. We just graph the table of values, plot your points. We have 6 points, plot them, connect with a nice smooth curve. This is a parabola. Linear equations is straight. The word linear comes from the word line. Okay, we're not dealing with linear anymore, we're dealing with quadratics and parabolas. So we need that nice curve that you see in here. It doesn't have to be perfect, but try your best. If you want a couple extra sources to help you out, I know we only did one example. We're going to do a couple more tomorrow in class. We're going to try something else with activity as well. But tonight, if you want some more help, these sites are great. Math is Fun and Purple Math. Khan Academy, we've used all these before. Math is Fun and Purple Math, they give you everything in words. Okay, it's going to be text form, a couple of different pages. Read through it, add it to your notes. Khan Academy has a video. Okay, very similar to this one. It's going to walk you through it. Khan Academy is nice because they also give you a couple examples to go through. And just to show these off real quick, we're not going to go through these too much because I'm going to let you go through them on your own. This is the Math is Fun site. It walks you through everything. Just read through their examples. Great examples, really helps you out a lot. We haven't done these, so it really helps you out. It gives you another method as well, and it gives you a couple questions down here to try. Purple Math, same thing. They give you all examples. They let you see some mistakes that people make. This one's a couple pages, so make sure that you actually read each page if you're going to use this as another learning source. Khan Academy, video, it's great, watch it. They have some more on the side, but try not to get too distracted by those because this is the one that we want to focus on right now. This stuff, we'll do some of these later. Right now, don't worry about this over here. Just watch the video. It helps you out pretty well. So those are just 3 sources that I found for you. Those are not by any means the only sources that are on the internet. Feel free to look at YouTube, Google, graphing quadratics, graphing parabolas. There's a plethora of videos out there done by people that have been doing this for more years than I've been alive. The best way to get everything out of this flipped classroom model is by looking at these additional sources as well. Watch the video, make sure you know the example, watch it multiple times, take your notes. Those notes are going to be really important to you guys tomorrow. So conclusion. What you really need to take away from this is that basic outline of how to graph these quadratics. We will be going through this more. We're going to keep coming back to this. The standard form, super important, guys. Every single thing we do is going to be using that. You should have that memorized. You should know that as well as you know your name by the end of this unit. Tomorrow in class, we're going to do a hands-on project and make sure you come prepared. The links for the additional sites are going to be below in the video description. If you want them, click on them. I suggest looking at least one. Add some stuff to your notes. Do not solely rely on what I do. It's just going to be like this in college as well. You have your lecture, get additional sources. Get as much information as you can to become proficient in this. Just in case you were wondering from earlier, he made it. We'll look at ways of how we can use a computer to model this so that we can estimate based on a shot if it'll make it in or not. Quadratics and parabolas are perfect for thrown objects, and we'll just keep going through that as we're going through this unit, so be prepared. I'll see you guys in class tomorrow. Please make sure that you bring these notes with you.